Gaming and tech this week, the Halo universe just got completely upended and is hopefully going to get crazy expanded. We also have the 10th anniversary celebration of a fan favorite game turns into a sequel announcement, and a new community-run review aggregator is now live. So we're going to talk about that and what you can do to help spread the word and quite a bit more in gaming and tech. Welcome, nerds, to this week's edition of the Gaming and Tech News, generally speaking. Now, I'm no Linus or Spawnwave or Gamers Nexus or insert channel that is dedicated to the tech and gaming news here. That's not what you're getting here. This is just enough to keep you informed, generally speaking. We do this just about every week as part of a larger news show called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel. You can find that linked down in the description or at the end of this video. Now let's talk about some gaming and tech and maybe even some like photo, video kind of news as well. All right, so follow-ups and corrections for gaming and tech this week. We have Nintendo Switch. Nintendo's been doing a lot for anti-piracy things in the last couple of weeks, like suing people and filing extra patents so that they can sue more people, and then also suing users for modding their systems and whatnot and what have you. Well, they just released firmware 19.0.0, and yeah, it's available now. You go install it. There's really nothing that it's doing except for some balancing issues and bug patches, etc., which is really just code for anti-piracy measures. So yeah, just kind of wanted to let that one be known. And then Silent Hill 2 has released this week. Actually, as I'm recording this, it is not technically out unless you paid for early access, which is like an extra $10 or what have you. It looks freaking amazing. I watched Mustard, I believe, play it the other day on the Ketchup and Mustard Twitch stream and just had a hell of a lot of fun watching that happen. It is very similar to what you remember of Silent Hill 2, but also they have changed enough to make it feel new all at the same time. It's been getting a lot of praise. There is one fairly glaring issue with it though, and that is like the frame rates are all freaking over the place. So hopefully by the time it is released to the general public, they will have a day one patch that will fix that, because Mustard was playing on the PC and even that was having issues, and I can't imagine he's got a very unpowerful PC. So yeah, just a really interesting, glaring issue, but hopefully one that is easily fixed. That's what we got for follow-ups and corrections. Let's jump into trailers real quick. The trailer that we have this week for gaming is going to feed into our first piece of regular news as well, but the trailer is for the Halloween situation. Halo is doing a Halloween operation, and there's some really cool cosmetics that they're doing for this operation. I did not write down when it is going live, though I'm pretty sure it's live right now and it will be live through Halloween. But I get a lot of really cool cosmetics. I'm totally digging this. It may be enough to pull me away from Mortal Kombat for a day or two. Maybe. But go check it out, link in the description. Which again brings us into regular ass news. Halo is undergoing some major changes behind the scenes. Halo Infinite is, for most intents and purposes, is now dead. They are not officially supporting the game, aside from like glaring issues. Like if something is absolutely broken, they are still releasing certain updates to the back end for that. But all of the other cosmetic updates that they're doing are being done through third parties or even through the community. You have the Big Forge community that's been doing a lot of maps and things. That's basically how they're updating Halo anymore, Halo Infinite. Because, and this has been apparently, according to the video they released, this has been in the works for approximately 2 years. 343 Industries is also dead. It is now called Halo Studios, and honestly, like if you've been paying attention, and we've been covering it as it's been happening, all of the upper-ups in the 343 Industries, especially since the Bungie days, since it first was purchased and they created 343 Industries, like it's a completely different studio these days. Very specifically, over the course of the last year to year and a half, so many people have left that company that it is legitimately a brand new company at this point. So why not rebrand? And with that rebranding comes a slew of announcements that they made through the video, which is again linked down in the description. The announcements, just for the TLDR, they're dropping Slipspace Engine, which is the proprietary engine that they built in-house to make Halo games. They're dropping that completely. They're switching over to the Unreal Engine 5, which is much more widely used in the industry. So really, that's kind of a backhanded way of Microsoft saying, we're not going to change the way we do business. We're going to continue to hire people for the minimum amount of time that we can so that we don't have to pay them benefits, which is super underhanded and shady. But in order to make that a more viable business practice, because we saw what happened with Halo Infinite, that was, to say it was a shit show, it would be generous. The way this game launched, it took them almost 2 years to get it to where it should have launched at, and then 3 months later they completely abandoned the project anyway. So that's not the way you do a AAA title. That is not the way you do the biggest title on your platform. And they're kind of learning that. So and as a way of kind of meeting in the middle, it would seem, they're going to Unreal Engine, which is fine. It looks better to me anyway. Like, Slipspace is cool, but I don't know, there's a lot more detail that you get. Just check the video, because they go into some really cool detail with the video. And also there's a lot of speculation that we'll probably touch on in the rumor mill that this is also going to be leading into a new anniversary edition of Combat Evolved, but that's a whole different thing. Also, aside from going to Unreal Engine, there is also a couple of mentions in this video of other projects, of more than just one iron in the fire, if you will. So it seems to imply, and this is kind of reading between the lines, so it's not laid out explicitly. They have said that they don't want to say anything explicitly until there is no turning back, until you're to the point where it is launchable and where it is sellable effectively. They don't want to like start any issues before they get to that point, right? So they are implying that there's going to be multiple Halo games, not just mainline FPS Halo games, but the other games that we've learned to love in the franchise, and possibly even other style games too. So this could be huge, or it could be just another Microsoft stumble. Like, that very much remains to be seen, and both options very much are on the table right now. So we'll keep track. It will be few and far between the updates on this, because it's taken them 2 years to get to the point where they can announce it. That means it's going to take them quite a while to get to the point where they're actually releasing the game, the first game, as Halo Studios. So yeah, that is going to happen, and we will talk about it, but it's going to be a minute, so let's move on. From there, we have Alien Isolation 2. That's right, 2. This is the 10-year anniversary of the first game, and when they were doing the celebration, they also announced that, hey, we're finally making a sequel. No release date for it yet. Very presumably that they're not even to the point where they can estimate when the release date's going to be. Which is another thing about the Halo bit, is they're not going to rush games out. They're going to have, like I said, multiple irons in the fire, so they're going to be able to make announcements when announcements are ready to be made, not because they're on a timeline. So it sounds like that's what's going on with the Alien Isolation crew as well, is they're not ready to announce when the release of the game is, but they are currently working on the sequel to Alien Isolation. So as that comes out, we'll be following up. From there, let's move over. Oh, this is probably my favorite one for the gaming and tech section. This is a tech piece. There is a new website called Stinky Garbage, which is kind of a funny website, funny website name. And Stinky Garbage is looking to replace Rotten Tomatoes, at least looking to replace Rotten Tomatoes amongst the nerdy types, because they are implementing some of the things that Rotten Tomatoes has removed, like the star rating for the user base instead of just for the critics. So, and also what you're most anticipating. You can thumbs up, thumbs down anticipated movies and TV shows as well. This is run by the people, the guy, I guess more specifically, who runs Cosmic Book News, which is honestly one of the sources that I go to first when doing research for these shows. So absolutely worth your time to go set up an account and review some movies and completely forget about what that other shill website is trying to push at you, because this is going to be a better source of what the community actually cares about, what the community actually thinks about these properties as they come out. So again, that is Stinky Garbage. The website is stinkygarbage.com, and there are, if a movie or a property stays above a certain rating for a certain amount of time, it receives golden G status, which is, again, just the whole naming scheme makes me chuckle a little bit. But either way, it is a community built by people in the community for people in the community. So go check it out, go sign up and do what you can to spread the word, because it is just him. I can't think of his name right now, Matt, I believe. Just him doing all of the work. So talk about being a one-man show. He's doing a lot more. He's got a lot more irons in the fire than I do, and support is needed. So go do that. That's what we got there. We have one last piece of gaming. This is actually kind of bridging the gap between gaming and tech. This is technically more tech side of things, but it has to do with gaming. So yeah, like I said, bridging the gap. This is Xbox. Microsoft's gaming division, specifically the Xbox wing of their gaming division, is talking to developers. Very specifically, like they're talking to a bunch of developers, but very specifically, they're trying to focus on developers who don't currently develop for their platform. So developers who are not developing for Xbox and probably have not ever developed for Xbox, they're asking them, why is it that you don't develop for our platform? And it sounds like a lot of the issues that the developers have been having with Microsoft is just their lack of caring about the gaming division of their company. Microsoft is a gigantic company, one of the biggest in the world, obviously. And so when it seems that they have really deprioritized the gaming wing of that, for whatever reason, I don't really know, but the developers, especially smaller developers, are really feeling that. They get ghosted by when they're leaving messages with secretaries trying to get information for development purposes. They get ghosted, they get ignored, they get talked down to, all of these things. Like, go read, you can check the link in the description for the full markup or write-up on this, because it's super interesting. But Microsoft is the future of the platform does not seem to be in as much peril as once thought, because they're starting to take notice. Hey, we have a lot less games than our competitors. Why is that? Apparently, our console is more difficult to develop for than other consoles, and also we don't treat our developers very well. So yeah, it's an interesting situation. That's what we got though for regular ass news. Let's move now into our suggestion for the week. Suggestion for the week, Silent Hill 2. Easy suggestion. It's on Steam, it's on PlayStation. If you don't, it's not for the Xbox. Hopefully Konami does release it for the Xbox in the future, but as it stands right now, it's only on those two platforms. So go pick it up. It looks so good. It looks so good. Like the way they've laid everything out, like my last memory of this franchise, of this game specifically, is the Xbox 360 version, which not completely, but mostly got rid of the fog element for whatever reason. And so therefore the atmosphere was completely shot. They kill it with the atmosphere in this. Like, it is so good. I really have not seen a lot of there has been some static, some pushback for Silent Hill 2 because of the changes that they've made, but by and large, this is going over super well with people who had early access. So I can only imagine it's just going to go up from there. So that is your suggestion this week, is Silent Hill 2. That brings us to the end of the video, nerds. Thank you very much for joining me for the news. Once again, there is a full and probably much more up-to-date and recent episode of the news, the full-length version, if you will, called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, linked down in the description, and probably link popping up somewhere around my face right about now. So click on that, go check that out as well, or if you prefer your news in more truncated pieces, then by all means just stick around here and go check out some of the other stuff we offer on this channel. Thank you very much for joining me. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember, nerds, that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.